Guys, I'm so sorry for delay. Uh, share uh study text. No, study text is fine. We don't use study text, right? Can someone share with me in the chat box pocket notes and exam code? Can you guys please do that? Actually, I don't know. Out of sudden, my laptop is not. I don't know what's happening here. It's not working at all. So yeah, I'm using different device. So can you guys please share with me? Chat box में करो. And pocket notes. Notes as well, guys. Yes. Oh, just a second. I'll join with another. Do you have pocket notes? Hello, hello. Divyanshu, do you have pocket notes? Guys, do you have pocket notes? Let me
No,
know. No? Okay. I'll share it in the group. Okay, okay. I'll share it in the group. you so much, Aman. Taking for a while to download. Okay, okay. So yeah, do you guys remember which question was that? Speech. Package company or peach company? Lapis or peach? Amazon rice. We were left with, I guess, uh, which portion of the question, right? Yes, no? And can someone please speak anything?
You're not audible.
I'm not audible. Okay, just a second. Give me a minute. हाँ,
अभी भी ब्रेक हो रही है वॉइस।
वॉइस ब्रेक हो रही है।
अब ठीक है, अब ठीक है।
हम्म, तो या कहाँ थे हम? मेरा तो चल लैपटॉप ही ऑन नहीं हो रहा है, तो यू गाइस हैव टू recall where were we last time. Hmm? Which topic? Which, like, how much were we left with? Warranty was done. Cameras on, guys.
Yes, yes,
Only warranty was done. Please fill this. Clear, breakers, renovation. Divyanshu, that was highlighted by you. No, no. Who sent me that? Naimish. You highlighted that area?
yes,
You did. Always, go for point wise because in exam you might end up getting confused. Yeah. मतलब जितना exact wordings you feel like important only highlight होना चाहिए. Okay. Characters, remuneration. In May, payroll clerk was dismissed after it discovered that they had carried out number of fraudulent. They discovered that they had carried out a number of fraudulent transactions. Controls have since been implemented to prevent this reoccurring. Okay, there are controls also placed to avoid that this does reoccur. What's the problem in this? क्या problem है? Cameras on, guys. Come on. Thank you, Naira. Naira, Akshat, what about you guys? What's the problem in this? You remember we have done similar kind of question somewhere? Remember? Oh, the first one. Okay. No idea? बताओ, guys, answer it.
no idea.
Like, see, whenever there is a fraud happening, there's a problem that the clerk did a fraud. Who did a fraud? Payroll clerk. Payroll clerk did a fraud. So after that, there were controls as well placed. But what if there's still fraud happening? We need to change a lot of things. What if whatever the problem happens due to fraud, we have not shown that into the financial statement, even if discovered, but we are not showing it. So that's the risk over here. Undetected fraud, yes, that may be undetected fraud. So as per this, so in this payroll clerk was dismissed, they had a fraud. Now there is a risk clerk may have undertaken significant number of fraudulent transactions which have not been identified. What if he has taken many more transactions which were never identified? Now the loss of as a result of fraudulent transaction would need to be written off in the financial statement. So whatever the losses you need to write it off. Control risk is also increased that the controls placed are not prevalent, are not working well. Let me draft it. On drafting? Hmm? Fair drafting? कि चलेगा? Quickly, yes or no?
Yes, draft.
Yes, draft. Okay. But towards the end, please remind me to share this file, and I'll only be able to share this file into this group. I mean, Zoom. Yeah, because this laptop is nowhere connected. Double A. Okay. Voice still not. So does anyone know how to solve this problem? Like, so- why is how can I remove this column? Any idea? Any idea? हुआ है आपके साथ? No idea? चलो, let's continue. आई फील हमें फिर ऐसे ही रखना पड़ेगा. Yes, sir. It's not working. Is it fine that if I do it without everything? मतलब ये बिल्कुल ही किसी का
मैम यू
लैपटॉप है.
कैन ट्राई वन नोट, इसमें उसमें नहीं लेना पड़ता प्रीमियम वगैरह. तो साइनिंग करने में आधा घंटा चला जाएगा. छोड़ो रहने दो. सिंक नहीं होगी फिर बिना सिंक करे आप देख पाओगे क्या? हाँ मैं अगर बिना सिंक करे ऐसे शेयर करो खत्म नहीं हो रहा है. चलो no worries. चलो I have a better way. I can also column wise the table you just add on. I'll just do not I'll just you know write it audit risk. What is audit risk and what is the response? Lapis. Audit. Okay. So in audit risk, again I'll have to read like this. Are you able to see the question now? Payroll clerk payroll clerk was dismissed after some of the fraudulent transactions were identified done by him. There is a risk that not all frauds are identified, and whatever the fraud done might not be written off from the financial statement. That's a problem. One more. Whereas controls have been
Controls have since been implemented to prevent this. Okay, controls were that. There is a control risk. The control risk. There's a high control risk. High control risk. Recommendation. Response. Okay. Now see. Discuss about the fraud. Fraud procedures done. Discuss with the finance director, finance director, how the fraud has been uncovered into the financial statement, mm, and what policy has management MDT is identified, management has implemented to identify, right, the similar what policy and control auditor needs to auditing the audit team need to check the controls and effectiveness of the controls and maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. Okay, and then for the next. Now the finance sector has informed the audit. Understood that part?
Yes, ma'am.
Finance sector has informed the audit manager that the intention is to disclose only amount of remuneration payable to each director in the financial statements. Local legislation country in which Lapis company base requires disclosure of the name of the directors as well as total amount payable. He is only looking forward to disclose the amount but not the name. What's the problem here? What's the problem here? Hello. Not revised. Though we'll do control chapter, not following the local legislation. Yes, that's a problem. What's the risk? Inherent risk. Oh, what's the risk? Inherent risk? Exactly how's the risk? Sorry. See, the point is, if if they don't want to disclose the amount, what's the point? What's the risk? Fictitious. Hello, why are you so silent today? क्या हो गया है? प्रदीप, own self or manipulating the account, मतलब खुद के relatives को दे सकता है. So yes, for director's remuneration, let's search for what? What? Now see, the directors are only disclosing the amount paid to the directors, but not their name and further detail which is required by the local legislation, which shows that the statement will not be in compliance with the local legislation, and there are chances that the payment there are chances that there might be some fictitious payment done to the fake or dummy directors which might not be in which might not be disclosed into the financial statement problem, right? Just a second. Just what response? What response will you give? What should be done? Can you figure out anything like this? If आपको disclose नहीं करना, आप ये जुगाड़ कर लो. ये कुछ हो सकता है क्या? Advise, discuss the reason with the management, ask the management to disclose as per the local legislation, review whether they are complying or not, discuss with the directors, those charged with governance. Okay? Sorry. Discuss this with the management and those charged with governance, the reason for non-compliance, advise them uh, and inform them about the consequences of non-disclosure, disclosure. You know what I used to do? I used to write the form shortcuts, but towards the end or towards the beginning, it's better. Whatever the shortcuts you're gonna use, towards the end somewhere you should show. Majorly in audit, I never used it. Usually in C level, I used to do it. तो जब एग्जामिनर को बता रहा है ना, if possible, देखो, when you're running out of time, then it's fine. Use the shortcuts. But if possible, write the full, right? Consequences, inform them about the consequences of non-disclosure and check the check the statement whether adequate disclosures are done, or is the statement or are the state is the statement amended बस इतना है ठीक है. When I'm drafting, you guys don't respond. Not everyone is responding. Only few students. What about others? Rebate receivable. See, okay, sorry. One of the supplier offering companies annual rebate on the condition that it has to purchase minimum number of quantity units by 30th September. The amount of rebate will be claimed in November 2025. It is likely from orders placed to date and forecast orders that Lepis company will exceed minimum volume required to claim this rebate. Therefore, it is anticipated draft financial statement will receive the receivable. Sorry. What's the risk in this? क्या लग रहा है? What do you think? So yeah, we look at this. There's a risk. Okay. Lepis company is planning to include 0.8 million in the rebate, supplier rebate. Now there is a risk. The receivable should not only be recognized if the company has purchased required volume and the amount claimed virtually certain to be received. If the annual volumes are overstated, then value of receivable recognized may be overstated and cost of sales may be understated. In the sense, whatever the rebate is there, whatever the rebate claim they have to make, what if they have not recognized correctly, and there is a risk that they have to consider whether this is for the current year purchase or not. So if they are not sure whether they are going to do this, still their annual volume of the transactions, or yeah, annual volume of, what is it stating? Volume level of amount, yeah. Annual amount value would be overstated. Also, their receivable will be overstated, and the cost of sales will be understated. That could be the problem. Check with the management what are the basis of rebate calculation, on what basis they are doing. Back check with the supporting calculation, are they giving it or not. Review post year correspondence with the supplier evidence, rebate being applied or post year end bank statement or evidence for the receipt. So after the year end as well, you can check. See, if you explain one procedure very well, it's fine. It's not that you will always have to explain two. Okay, half marks for each. This is for the teaching purpose. That's why they will give you two procedures. Now, Lepis is developing a new smart television model. All 1.6 million of the cost incurred to date will be capitalized. Develop smart television model. Whatever the cost they are incurring, they are planning to capitalize everything. Where they are. The model is under still development. Not anticipated. Sorry, whether it will available for production until 2006. We have done this kind of example. What is it? What's the problem? We have discussed development expenditure. Pirates भी discuss किया था. Yes. So if I explain you like this, see, you write the development expenditure, the capitalization criteria for development expenditure has not been met. Okay. Now, whatever the expense that needs to be, whatever the research and development cost that needs to be expensed into P&L might have wrongly capitalized. That's a problem. Being capitalized? Yes, correct. Being capitalized. All risk of expenditure included if research costs have been, yeah, correctly classified. So that's the thing. Whatever the research costs, if they are wrongly capitalized, then it will overstate your uh, assets and understate your expenses. Now check for the breakdown, check for the detailed breakdown of proof as it's planning. Here it's clearly saying, na, will be available for commercial production only till 2006 in its 20xy. Which month is it? Only until. Yes, now see. So in a detailed breakdown of the expenditure capitalized, agree with the supporting documentation, check the supporting documentation, check what cost relates to research and development, state, discuss the accounting treatment with the finance director and check what changes have been made, whether the capitalization, whatever the cost they have capitalized, are they meeting the criteria or not? That's it. Okay? Research and development is easy. Akshat, एक second. As per the relevant standard, the cost must be only recognized if the project will generate a revenue coming future, which is not here, making the intangible assets overstated in expense understated. Yeah, as a risk you can present this. Okay. But in the response area, you'll need to check the detailed breakdown. Okay. What are you done? As a risk, this is correct. In order to finance the development, in order to finance the development of the new smart television model, Lepes company secured 0.5 million interest-bearing bank loan, where there is an interest-bearing bank loan in April 2025. This is repayable in arrears for 4 years in the quarterly installment. What do you think? What's the risk? Just a second, you type it. Say that there's a classification risk. What might be omitted? So I'll tell you the risk. देखो. First thing. Wait a second. I think my laptop is working now. You know, अगर कोई मेरा लैपटॉप चुरा जाए ना तो like whole everything will be gone. पूरा ACC हो जाए. Whatever the notes I have, whatever, even minute thing I have, everything on laptop. So I keep it very safe. It's on now. Okay, sorry. Hmm. Now if I talk about the research and development. नहीं. Interest bearing loan. There's a first problem. What if the interest is not correctly allocated between current and non-current? Okay. What if the accrual expense is not correctly classified? Okay. See, understand very carefully. If there's an accrual of interest, right? If they are showing the accrual of the interest, that can also be manipulated for the tax purpose, right? So that's why the finance director or that's why the auditor need to check. Now, how will they check what documents you will get? If there's a loan, on what document will you get it? कौन से document से पता चलता है? लोन डॉक्यूमेंट्स, राइट? लोन डॉक्यूमेंट से पता चलता है, लोन एग्रीमेंट से पता चलता है, एंड bank confirmation letter, yes. See, here rather than getting bank confirmation letter, it's whenever you have a loan taken, at that time you might have loans agreement letter or loan, what I say, usually loan agreement letter that would also be work. Bank confirmation letter as well you can take, but यहाँ पे loan agreement would be better. The reason is you already have. You need to check how much loan needs to be paid, on what basis they are correct, on what basis they have to collect interest or they have to pay interest. Then check the interest accrual amount, whether that is as per the schedule or not. Rather than taking bank confirmation, bank confirmation generally in which case it will have, like if there's a balance into multiple accounts, then you can go for bank confirmation. Okay. More suitable is the bank loan agreement letter. Got it? The directors are intending to propose a final dividend once the financial statements are finalized. Intending to propose final dividend. Oh, how can it be possible? What's the problem in this? क्या लग रहा है? Mm-hmm. Tell me. Hi, Akshat here. Thank you. ऑन रखो कैमरा, कोई बात नहीं है. So, see what are it. Once the financial statements are being finalized. See, look at this. Now, the director wants to propose the dividends only after the finalization. How does it make sense? If you are finalizing this, how can you show that into the financial statements? पहले ही करना पड़ता है ना, तभी आप शो करते हो, then only you'll show that into the financial statements. एक second. Someone turn on their camera. Any two students, can you please keep your camera on? एक बार, just a second. Naimesh and Akshat, Naira. Hello. Keep it on after fine. 2-3 minutes, it's fine. So that needs to be checked whether it's as per the in line with the finding as per the events after the reporting period or not, because whatever the dividend declared, only that can be shown into the financial statements. Now, if we declare dividend after the year end, that cannot be shown as an adjusting event, right? Dividend cannot be an adjusting event. So, if you are showing it as a liability, that is overstatement of liability. You cannot show that as a liability, right? Before that. Now, you need to, as an auditor, check with the management, confirm that dividends should not be recognized in liability, and they need to be, financial statements should be reviewed, that proper disclosure should be made as per the IAS 10. So, as per the IAS 10, this is not a adjusting event. That's why you need to consider this. Okay? Got it? One, one time. Yes, no? Yeah, if I talk about the plan, how are we going to proceed? We are done with risk planning, evidence and system of control. So today we'll do two chapters, okay, and tomorrow questions for that. In the remaining, internal audit भी हो जाएगा, आज ही हो जाएगा anyways. 3 chapters today and procedures in the remaining part next week, okay? Procedures में you need more days, more practice, yes or no? No? Okay. Then we'll include accordingly. Tick. Let's go for the evidence chapter. Now see, evidence. Now whatever an auditor does and that needs to be an evidence. अगर आप कुछ करते हो, whatever you do, you need an evidence, right? Without evidence, can you prove anything? Can you prove anything? No, then auditor also need to collect all evidence. Now, it's the auditor's responsibility. They need to ensure that whatever evidence they are collecting, that should be of appropriate quality in appropriate quantity. See, for example, chalo, hypothetical example. Let's say, if I won't, नहीं, chalo, classroom. So one headmaster towards the end of the year or nearby end, they come for checking that how many students are doing good or how many students are not doing good. So what? Random checking हुई है? हुई है? Teachers कुछ करते थे इसमें जुगाड़? नहीं? नहीं? Okay. So I changed 3 schools in my life. The second school, वहाँ पे it used to happen. Usually, teachers को ये पता था that whatever the person comes up, 95% chances, those who are the old teachers, they knew that the headmaster would only pick up आज का जो question कराया, only pick up the last bencher. The last bencher अगर ऐसा है who is not studying, then for a day the toppers used to sit at the last bench. What's this? ये क्या हो गया? What's this happening? What is the situation? What do I call it? Manipulation? Manipulation of the evidence, right? Now, headmaster out of whatever the number of students, they are only checking on the last bench. And don't you think they are also, it's their mistake as well. They are not taking, first of all, sufficient quantity and sufficient quality as well. Because that particular evidence is not reliable, that manipulated the state. Okay? Because हाँ, भले उसको समझ आया नहीं आया, these are top, उनका तो ध्यान होगा ही, right? That's the point. Now, there are some evidence which needs to be considered whether that, okay, sorry. Sufficient quantity depends on the affected risk, materiality, and reliability. Let's say you think that this is a risky area, you need to take more evidence for this. You need to collect more evidence. If you think that particular transaction is material thing or it could have a major material problem, which is of
persuasive, right? Persuasive. Now, pervasive. Persuasive. बहुत ही similar kind of word था वो. Pervasive. Sorry, pervasive. Hmm. Now, if I talk about that, let's say if the particular transaction is pervasive, in the sense, one small mistake, purchase. One small mistake, whole area would be mistake. If you do mistake, if you misrecord the purchase, first thing, inventory. Purchase is misstated, inventory misstated, trade payables misstated. Also, cost may be changed, expenses, over and change on expenses. Let's say if on purchases, if you are showing any insurance, then insurance may be overstated. Kahin na kahin, for some purchase, they do take insurance. Goods in transit, they do take insurance. These all area would be affected. Purchase is a risky area, so you need to collect more evidence for the same. Whether the reliability is there or not, whatever the evidence I'm getting, whether it's reliable, if it's management's evidence, then you need to ask more members of the management, okay, to rely on the evidence. Now you need to check appropriate quality should be there. Quality in the sense, again, if let's say there are two ways I can get the you know sorry, evidence, then internal would be less better. I mean, external would be better than internal. I need to check the reliability, quality, whether that is relevant to the financial statement assertions or not. That also matters. Financial statement assertions, what are they, do you know? Yes, नीमच. कौन से शॉर्टकट से याद करा है? How have you remembered it? I to remember like ACC over. ACC over? Same अक्षर? See, now if I talk about the financial statement assertions, there are total 8 assertions. Just a second. Oh my god. Distance. सोचो. Haven't you used any shortcut to remember this? नहीं, shortcut से याद रखने का. बाकी सारी चीजें shortcut. Yes, Pradeep, what is the shortcut? Tell me. Something you need for a lifetime, na? That's all. Chalo, I'll tell you. First thing, ACCA. Okay. Accounting head. Hmm. The completeness. Let me write that. CRP. CRP existence is what? ACP occurrence. कैसे लिखें? Accuracy. Hmm. Completeness. Cut off. Counting head. हाँ. Over. Currents. Valuation. Yes. Existence. And are rights and obligations. These are some, like the way I remembered. Okay. So whenever I studied audit, this is this way I remember. Still now I remember this way only. It's okay. I'm giving you that. थोड़ा अलग अलग है. Just that the system is completely new to me, so it's मतलब छोटी चीज में भी it takes a lot of time. See, if I talk about accuracy, can you say that your P&L state or your balance sheet statement, okay, your balance sheet or P&L, what do you think, what will be the accurate item? Can you state that your balance sheet will be accurate? Can you show accuracy? Balance sheet, pakka accuracy. See, in inventory, you can show accurate number of inventory. But can you show in balance sheet the accuracy? Achha, for example, let's say you have purchased a property. Can you show that the property is accurately valued? चलो, you might say that अच्छा property की एक साल में इतनी ज्यादा valuation change नहीं होती. But what about this foreign exchange? Can you show that if you have purchased currency, if you have purchased, can you show that? Or if you have, let's say you have purchased cryptocurrency, can you show that it's going to be accurate? Hmm? Yes or no? No. Which means, which balance is this? What do you think? Which assertion is this? Balance sheet. I'll just write B and P. Okay? Just understand this. You'll get it. B. Now, if I talk about completeness, can you say that whatever the transactions are recorded in P&L's in balance sheet statement are complete, or it would be more better for no, एक second, just a second. Completeness. Whatever the transactions recorded in the books, can you say that it's complete? अभी देखो. In the sense, if you talk about expenses, if there are expenses recorded, or if there is revenue recorded, don't you think this assertion can fall into this assertions? Okay, one more thing, assertions are some silent claims management does. Okay, management does. So if I talk about completeness needs to be there for both. Let's say if there's a management not recording all the expense, that's a problem. Not recording all the revenue, that's a problem, right? For third, balance sheet items, not recording all the liability, a problem. Not recording all the assets, a problem. So this would be for both B, okay, balance sheet and P&L. लॉजिक से समझा. कट ऑफ टेस्टिंग, आप बताओ, वेयर इज इट मोर relevant?
P&L.
Very good. Because in P&L you see that okay, that particular transactions for this year or not. In revenue, in let's say balance sheet item, this won't be relevant, but you need to check it in case of the inventory. Inventory, it's separate scenario. Inventory, you need to check it for inventory. Okay. Now, if I talk about accounting head, for what is it important? Let's say, what if your impairment expense you are showing as a depreciation? Or let's say if there is impairment expense, but what if you are showing as a, miscellaneous expense? Both, yes. Okay. What about occurrence? Can your asset occur? P&L, very good. P&L. Valuation. Can you revalue your sales? Balance sheet. जिसको confusion हो, एक example I would tell you. Let's say a particular situation. Let's say if I started my own institution, okay? I'm December born. So if I say that, कि चलो December में I'll give you a discount, okay? Now if I say in December I got 10 students,
who bought a course, usually it's for 25,000, they bought 10 students bought for 20,000. So which is my 2 lakh revenue. I received 2 lakhs. Now, can I say that in January that my month and my year end is 31st March only? Can I say that I would have received 25 only, but as this was my birthday, can I revalue it? Anyway, not possible. जो आया उसी को consider करता. So revaluation is never gonna be. So, sorry, valuation will never be a P&L item. It will always be your balance sheet item. Existence. Existence.
Balance sheet.
Balance sheet item. Yes, you can only check whether you have asset or not, existing asset or not. If I talk about rights and obligations, on what do you have rights and obligations? Balance sheet. Expense तो जो हो गया, obligation you have fulfill it, then only you will have it. If you want, you can take screenshot. I cannot share from this student. You can share in this.
Then there is a confusion between when to use accuracy and when to use completeness. In these two, normally when I'm solving the questions, there are chances I'm assuming that this could be a completeness, but while I'm checking the answers over there, there is a accuracy. So there is a confusion between them. If you can clarify that.
Sure, I'll do it. Take second, na? Like a confusion between accuracy and completeness. Okay. Oh, sorry, just a second. There's a mistake. Accuracy will be P&L item. Incompleteness will be balance sheet and book. Oh, delete that then.
But ma'am, जो बुक में दिया है ना, ट्रांजैक्शन इवेंट्स एंड अकाउंट बैलेंस दोनों में ही एक्यूरेसी है.
मैं बताती हूँ कहाँ है ये. एक सेकंड. In accuracy, usually for inventory items there will be accuracy. अगर आपका ये जो confusion है ये generally inventory में ही हो. ठीक है? Inventory, you can say that whether inventory is accurately amount recorded or not. Okay? And completeness, total number. Total, let's say आपके assets कितने हैं इस पे. Let's say if I have to check to complete, let's say I have to check the completeness of my assets. How can I do that? Asset register में go for that and check whether that asset is present or not. Yes, completely required. No, sorry, that would be existence. Pick up my asset and check whether that is recorded into the statement or not. That is my completeness. Okay. If I have to check the accuracy, let's say the inventory for this current year is correct, accurately recorded or not, cut off testing. Goods in transit. Have you received it or have you received a then have you recorded it? Accuracy. PNL, item, whatever the amount revenue recorded, have you recorded properly? Accuracy. Total amount recorded, accuracy. Figures accurate or not. Understood the difference? आया समझ?
बट मैम अगर कोई चीज प्रॉपर तरीके से रिकॉर्ड नहीं है तो कंप्लीट भी तो नहीं है, तो वो भी तो कंप्लीटनेस में आ सकता है ना.
You can show that completeness is also a problem. Usually accuracy will always be, except inventory, if you think logically, accuracy ज्यादातर केस में it would be P&L item. Inventory का केस अलग होगा. And it can also be completeness issue. That the balance is not accurate and then completeness is also an issue. Okay? But if I talk about, let's say assets, number of assets not recorded, there can be an accuracy. But valuation if not done, मतलब wrong taken, that will never be an accuracy. ये difference है. Numbers में accuracy आ सकती है. Total कितने count है, how many assets are there. There you can have accuracy, but you cannot have accuracy in the amount. आया समझ? For balance sheet type. तो आप दोनों include कर सकते हो, but logically करें. आया समझ, प्रदीप? Yes or no?
Iसीलिए in the books as well, they have given both the scenarios, but that's the difference. Why? What's the difference? Like that's the difference you need to see. अब उन्होंने सब accuracy valuation सब एक में ही कर दिया. Valuation can never be P&L item. That you can never do it. Only balance sheet item. Now see. Now there are some evidence which is always going to be less reliable. First evidence, let's say if they're obtained from insider party, inside of the entity, can you ever rely on it? No, you'll never rely on it because they'll always say positive. Indirectly or by inference, in the sense, okay, in the sense, let's say your management is interfering. That can also be not good. Oral representation cannot be reliable. Photocopy cannot be reliable. Original document would be reliable. Uh, exist in documentary form, whatever in written form, that would be reliable. Obtained directly by the auditor, that is more reliable rather than interference of the management. If let's say, if I have to take any evidence from, let's say, Akshat, and if I say that IMS, can you please do it? That can be chances of, manipulation. But let's say if I'm taking directly evidence from Akshat, collecting any documents from him, that would be less chances of a problem, which will be more reliable, right? Obtained from independent sources outside the entity, that is also going to be more reliable. Talk about that too. Actually, three things we study: audit risk, substantive procedures, and test of control. Now, I hope you know audit risk. Audit risk is what? Just for your revision, what is audit risk? Risk in the financial statement. Risk in the financial statement. है ना? Audit risk is risk in the financial statement. If I talk about substantive procedure, there are audit procedures as well and substantive procedures as well. See, the difference between both. First thing, audit procedure, whatever the audit procedure you do, auditor try to collect in evidence. But the main motive won't be to satisfy any assertion. Assertion. The assertion, 8 assertions which I've. But when it comes to substantive procedures, their main point will be the main, motive will be to satisfy the assertion, whatever the assertion are there, the material misstatement for both the scenarios. Now it can be two ways: test of detail and analytical procedures. Two ways the procedures are happening. Test of detail, all the detailed transaction, date, supplier, or the customer type, or the type of the product, or amount, right? But if I talk about analytical procedures, it will just check the total. How much is the total? Is it correct? How much is the increase? Let's say there is a decrease in revenue as compared to last year, decrease in sales, or you can also say that during COVID, all the teaching industry suffered. Initially, they suffered suffered badly, right? But later on, they started growing due to online teaching. They started getting foreign students due to online teaching, right? So this shows that whole industry is suffering. Why one business is getting successful? Why one business is being successful? Online teaching could be a reason. Auditor needs to check. As I mentioned. Hmm. Now, if I talk about the test of control, the main motive for test of control is just that to check how the controls are working, whether they are going to prevent the problem, are they going to avoid the problem, or whether they are effective or not. First thing, whether control are present or not. If control are present, effectiveness. Two things, okay? Whether they'll be able to help out any material misstatement or with whatever the assertion level they have, whether the controls will be there to help to maintain the assertion level, yes or no. That is test of control. Okay. Now, if I talk about audit procedure, AEIOU, ये मैच हो रहा है ना? A, E, I for both. Inspection, tangible records. O, inquiry. External confirmation as well you can do. And recalculation. you can say, in the sense U-turn kind of situation. Okay. Or else, is there any another name you have remember this? Like, is your always remember that? Like, remember this? Hey, we have ChatGPT now. ChatGPT 4. Yeah, Roy. Yeah, Roy. How is that? Ah, makes sense. R square. Okay. Now, if I talk about audit procedures, you can check. Yeah. You can inspect the documents. You can check the report. May give direct evidence existence. So here you can get the existence of asset, ownership, control, operating, and cutoff. If you inspect any document, what is this? Test of detail or as this an analytical procedure? What do you think? Which one is it? If you check any document, is it test of detail or your analytical procedures? Question. अक्षर याद करो टेस्ट ऑफ डिटेल क्या करोगे analytical procedure only check the total ratio. Here you are taking, inspecting the documents in the sense whatever the documents you have, you'll check for the cutoff testing, you'll check for the duration, you'll check for the ownership, you'll check who has the control or not. So that is test of detail, na? Test of detail हुआ ना? Okay. So one thing you need to remember. ई नहीं लिखा ना? Inquiry नहीं add on किया है. You can ask ChatGPT. Or let me join through my laptop, then I'll ask ChatGPT. Okay. Now, if I talk about conclusion, okay, inspect the tangible assets. If you check your tangible asset, it will ensure that whether it is existence or not. Evidence of the valuation. Let's say your asset is not working properly. It will give valuation evidence that oh, this is not working properly. How they have claimed the full valuation. Observation involve looking at the process procedure may provide evidence that a control is operating effectively or not. Check for the process procedure. Check for the evidence. Okay, how's the control working? Inquiry of major audit source. Inquiry usually need to be corroborated in the sense in whatever the inquiry you do that must be exactly word of corroborated and free from error actually. Confirm support. Okay. Confirm support or free from error or whatever the inquiry you do, it should be from outside a party. It can be from management as well, right? Confirmation usually consists of confirming balance or representation, maybe management directly or third party to the whatever you can take from management as well. You can take from the third party as well. Recalculation, if I talk about, so it will check your arithmetical accuracy. This is your what? Analytical procedure, test of detail. What is this? Analytical procedure? be the analytical procedure. Okay. This is a part of analytical procedure. Reperformance include reperforming management account procedures such as year-end reconciliations or not. Check the reconciliations. Analytical procedure compare the data, compare for relationship between variances, check for the review whether that is supporting the test or not. So recalculation as well. In analytical procedures, it will include a lot of things: recalculation, ratios, trends, etc. All these things will be a part of analytical procedures. So yeah, assertions are done. Okay. So yeah, guys, let's keep it till here. Okay. And 1 second. Let's go for a break. Meanwhile, I'll join from my laptop. So it runs smooth. Let's take a short break. We'll continue. Hello, hello, hello. Am I audible? Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Yeah, chalo. Finally, now it's my laptop. Okay. Now, I'm sorry. Cameras on, guys. Camera on, guys. Assertion sorted, right? Sorted? Do you want me to repeat? Only 10 students. Yes or no? Okay, all right. Now let's discuss some of the analytical procedures. How does the analytical procedures can be used as substantive procedures? Now it depends what assertion you need to check. Let's say if you have to check for existence. See, if I talk about existence, I need to see whether all students are existing or not. Or let's say if I have to check existence of the students. How many? 10 students. 11 participants, 10 students are there. In register, are all 10 students present? Total, if I check it, existence will be there, right? So it can be also good for valuation. Let's say total valuation report should be 1 crore. So is it actually present? Okay, what to, okay, no. Just a second. If I talk about inventory, okay, in inventory, there would be a different type of inventory. Raw material would be there. There would be work in progress. There would be finished goods. Okay. Now you need to check if there is total valuation of 1 crore. Management need to check whether each valuation is correct or not. Whether raw materials, how much is it? Are they valued at? Let's say if they are valued at 50 lakhs. Oh no, 50 lakhs over hypothetical. 20 lakhs. Work in progress 30 lakhs, and finished goods 50 lakhs. You need to check. Okay, so these are some valuation total they can check. Okay, now whether the reliability of the data is correct or not, so it also check the number could be wrong. If the reliability of data is not correct, then number could be wrong. Check with the precision. Let's say usually the total is in XYZ number, let's say 5-digit numbers. And now anytime if you get different number, that is you need to check whether the data is precise or not. Okay, now, let's say the amount variation. Now, whatever the assertions you are using, it depends. Whatever substantive analytical procedure you use as substantive procedures, it depends. What are the amount of variation? How much different and how much are the acceptable level? Let's say if I talk about whether it's in under the materiality level, there's going to be performance materiality, right? So if there is 2 or 3, like a few under the performance materiality, or let's say for example, I'm taking Mm, okay. When the institutions provide you loan, whenever you have purchase sessions, you would have some students might have taken loan, right? So whenever they take loan, which is the party from whom you take? Bajaj Finance, right? Bajaj Finance. This is a real thing. Now let's say if for per student, the total fees of how many, is there any exemptions? Have you
received any exemptions? How many exemptions you have received? Batao jaldi. Then I'll be able to give you a proper example. 5. 8 papers you have to appear, na? Total 9 papers you have to appear. 9, you know? 8. Total 8 paper. No, wait. Yeah. Total 8 papers you have to appear. Let's say in this example, let's say for per paper, if the management is asking that they will take sorry, fees make a calculation करना है. One six. Okay, let's say for 8 paper, it's if each paper is sold for 25,000 for offline sessions. Okay, if they are saying that they will sell for 25,000, now if someone is taking loan, then they won't get any full amount. As from the company's perspective, whatever the loan they take, they also have to pay some charges. They won't get the full amount. That's why they will get, let's say, somewhere around 230, and then they have to pay some charges to ACC on behalf of the students, some other costs. Then if I take the round of expenditure of 2 lakh, 2 lakh would be there. Now in this, whenever they are getting fees from the students, some student might apply some of the discount coupons. If let's say some student is applying a discount coupon, 8 multiply 25,000, which is going to be 2 lakh. Oh, sorry. This is the actual amount. Forget about this. Forget about this. 8 multiply 25,000. You get 2 lakhs. I don't know what's happening today. Okay, 2 lakhs is the amount. Let's say now students, whatever the 2 lakhs amount, from that some loan or some other, whenever they take loan, companies have to pay some cost on that or some other expenses. Let's say they might get 180 on hand. No, let's take 150 on hand. 150 रखते हैं. 150. Now, if there's a student who has already applied any discount, or let's say they have not taken a loan, if they don't take the loan, then the company might say that it's okay if you don't take the loan, you will get 10,000 off. So if they are paying 190 or 20,000 off, so they'll be paying 180, 1,80,000. So these are the differences which are going to be acceptable. Let's say even if 180 and in the calculation they get a difference of 500, then it's fine. They would consider some additional charges would have deducted. So this also shows that whether analytical procedure in this particular area, is it good or not? Okay, understood this? Yes or no? Hello. Hello, students. Akshar, are you there? Now there are some automatic tools and techniques which can also be used. So there's test data generated by auditor, then processed using the client computer system. So whatever the test data, the auditor will have a data, which dummy data, you can say that there would be a dummy data, and this dummy data the auditor will put into the client system and will check whether the system is processing it correctly or not. For example, let's say there's a payroll system. Okay. Now in the payroll system, you have in India, if I talk about, you have insurance, you have professional tax, okay, you have pension. These are some areas. If I talk about UK, you have NIC calculations as well. NIC is National Insurance Contribution. Okay, in tax you will study. If I talk about these data, whatever amount I have, let's say I've shown that 10,000 is my basic amount. On that, the data should be automatically calculated. Now, the auditor, while checking the data, they should put a dummy data and then they'll get it. So, put a dummy data through the system, whether valid is accepted, whether the valid transactions are accepted or not. If there is invalid, whatever the data you have, let's say if I talk about 12%, okay, of this 12%, which is 1200. So, total should be 1200. So auditor will check that whether this is the correct amount they are receiving or not. Okay. If I talk about audit software, now there would be a software particularly designed for the audit purpose. It would be only for the audit purpose. If I talk about Caseware is a kind of software. Audit software. Okay. Now it will check the samples, check the computations, how they have done, how it will also check, reperform the calculation. It will compare the files. It will also do analytical detail review. So auditor don't need to do this. Whatever the things needs to be done, audit software automatically do. See, logically, if you understand, if there is an audit software which is already doing this, then don't you think there's gonna be risk? AI risk? Risk है? Is there a risk or not? Is there is a risk or not? Lizna, Akshat, my question is, I'll repeat my question. देखो, अगर सारी जगह ऑडिट सॉफ्टवेयर यूज हो रहे हैं, तो जैसे जैसे एआई बढ़ रहा है, रिस्क है कि नहीं है? आप बताओ।
है मैम।
हाँ, है ना रिस्क, है ना? इसीलिए one more skills you need to learn. Actually speaking, looking at the job scenario right now, AI in audit, AI in accounting, AI in IFRS standards, आजकल इसका भी चल रहा है, right? Start learning AI. हाँ, but still you need to take help. देखो, you say that you cannot trust AI, but AI is something which we can deny that AI is faster than you. I still remember when I had to make papers, it would take a lot of time. Honestly, preparing 100 MCQs was really a tough task, right? As a trainer, what tough task hota hai? When I started using AI, 100 MCQs, I do it within an hour, okay? अभी it's not always कि एक मैंने prompt डाल दिया, I've just entered one prompt, उसमें मेरे को 100 आ जाएंगे. There are chances I need to change my prompts again and again. अभी ये डाला, अभी मेरे को कुछ और डालना पड़ेगा, कुछ और changes करने पड़ेंगे. Then again, correction software will also be there. So that's how audit software can be used. Nowadays, AI will also be used, right? So to get good jobs, learn AI is good. Okay? Though I get it, it's risky, but what can we do? Companies are using.
2027 में चेंज भी हो रहा है ना ACCA का सिलेबस।
हाँ, data science आ रहा है. This is a very good change they are bringing. Even I'll study that. Actually, I तो wanted to study fintech. तो अभी तो ये तो बहुत अच्छा है. By the time I guess you will be done because it will be after September.
अगर नया सिलेबस आएगा तो जो बच्चे वहां से निकलेंगे तो पुराने बच्चे लोग का तो वैल्यू कम हो जाएगा, क्योंकि वो लोग अलॉन्ग विथ AI भी सीख सकते हैं और हम लोग तो पीछे रह जाएंगे ना उनसे।
क्यों कम हो जाओगे? आपको क्या लगता है हम लोग आउटडेट हो जाएंगे? हम तो आपसे पहले हो गए.
हम लोग भी तो सीख सकते हैं ना मैम।
हम भी
हम
सीख
लोग
सकते हैं ना. देखो, द पॉइंट इज, ऐसा कौन सा मटेरियल है जो ECC स्टूडेंट्स को नहीं अवेलेबल? बताओ. है ना, सब कुछ अवेलेबल है, ऐसा तो नहीं है. यूर इन टू स्किल लेवल और एज सुन एज यू गेट रजिस्टर यू कैन एक्सेस टू ऑल द डॉक्यूमेंट. इट्स जस्ट दैट आपकी एग्जाम नहीं होगी, बट आप पढ़ोगे तो खरी ना, उसको सीख तो सकते हो. स्किल्स आनी जरूरी है, पता है. आई टेल माई स्टूडेंट्स, आपको एडवांस एक्सेल सीखना जरूरी है. सर्टिफिकेट हो ना हो डजंट मैटर, समझे, आना जरूरी है. ओके, तो डोंट कीप इन दिस माइंड कि हाँ वैल्यू कम होगी. नहीं नहीं नहीं, वो तो इनफैक्ट मैं बोलूँ कि इफ आई वांट टू लर्न डेटा साइंस, चलो मैं 6 महीने ले लूं, आई लर्न इट, हो गया. मेरे को किसी को प्रूव, मतलब सर्टिफिकेट हो या ना हो, इन इंटरव्यूज यू विल शो दैट ओ यू हैव द स्किल्स और नॉट. दैट्स हाउ यू गेट गुड जॉब. ओके, एंड इंटरव्यूज मतलब जॉब में सैलरी कितनी होगी वो आपके ऊपर डिपेंड है, आपकी इंटरव्यू एंड आपकी स्किल्स के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है। ठीक है अमन, यू आस्क दिस क्वेश्चन ना। लगता है वैल्यू कम होगी? नहीं होगी।
नहीं
ठीक
मैम,
है, किसने पूछा था? तो
प्रदीप ने पूछा था।
प्रदीप, हाँ। नहीं होगी, डोंट वरी। इनफैक्ट पता है आपका तो एक्सपीरियंस भी बढ़ जाएगा तब तक। हाउ मेनी पेपर्स आर यू लेफ्ट विथ?
7 including audit.
इंक्लूडिंग ऑडिट। अच्छा ओके, टू विच टू?
We have cleared FM
हाँ,
and now sitting for the audit.
और कौन से बाकी है आपके स्किल में, और कौन से बाकी है?
मैम
Skill
पीएम
में
बाकी है और एफआर बाकी है।
FR और audit, हाँ तीन।
एफआर बाकी है आपका?
एफआर
FR,
मैम बाकी है।
PM and audit.
एफआर पढ़ा है कभी आपने?
हाँ मेरा हुआ है।
व्हाट
मैम वो
अबाउट इट?
एक्चुअली मैम वो एक्चुअली कैसा होता है इन लोग का, एक एक क्वार्टर में ना वो लोग एग्जाम एक पर्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट को पकड़ के चलते हैं। तो व्हेन
सही
आई
जगह से।
ज्वाइन तो मैंने एफएम से स्टार्ट किया। और दो पहले के बच्चे जिन्होंने पहले एफआर से बैठे रहेंगे वो लोग एफआर देते हैं, तो ऐसा हो जाता है। बहुत लोगों के लिए ऑडिट भी फर्स्ट सब्जेक्ट हो सकता है ऐसा।
किसके लिए ऑडिट फर्स्ट है?
जो पहली बार अभी एडमिशन लिया होगा ना, तो
जिन्होंने
लाइक वो
अभी
सीक्वेंस
एडमिशन
में
लिया
जाता है।
रहेगा मैम।
तो पहले FR चालू होता है, देन FM, फिर ऑडिट, देन PM। तो ये टाइम पे जो ये मंथ में मतलब ये बैच में एडमिशन लिया होगा, तो फॉर दैट ये ऑडिट पहला चैप्टर हो सकता है, पहला सब्जेक्ट हो सकता है। तो वैसा
ओके, आई गेट
मुंबई
इट।
साइड में तो ऐसा ही चलता है, आई डोंट नो अबाउट दैट।
नहीं नहीं, नॉट जस्ट इन मुंबई, एक्चुअली हर एक जगह ऐसा चलता है, हर एक जगह, नॉट जस्ट इन मुंबई। ओके, डू वन थिंग, आपके पास टाइम हो तो एक बार ना एफआर की पॉकेट नोट्स ढूंढ लो, एफआर की पॉकेट नोट्स एक बार ऊपर ऊपर से कुछ कुछ स्टैंडर्ड्स पढ़ो। देयर यू सी, इसमें इसमें दिस इज हाउ द होल इंडस्ट्री वर्क्स, क्योंकि आप लॉजिकली सोचो ना, एक साथ सारी बैच रन करना पॉसिबल है ही नहीं। इतने ट्रेनर्स भी कहाँ से आएंगे, इतने बच्चे भी कहाँ से आएंगे, और जितने भी ट्रेनर्स आ रहे हैं उन सबका रेवेन्यू जाता है ना। और मतलब आप ऑडिट दे रहे हो, आपको बार बार, अभी जैसे जिन्होंने लेट्स से अमन ने पढ़ा ना, प्रदीप ने पढ़ा ना एफआर,
यस मैम।
प्रदीप ने पढ़ लिया,
हाँ
वापस
मैम
ऑडिट।
प्रदीप ने किया है मैम। मैंने वो शॉर्ट नोट्स एक पढ़े थे, मैंने हम लोग के सर ने मेरे को भेजा था तो मैंने उससे पढ़े थे, तो मेरे को थोड़ा आइडिया है।
कोई बात नहीं, चलेगा, कुछ भी पढ़ो, कुछ भी पढ़ो, इट्स टोटली फाइन। इट्स जस्ट थोड़ा बेसिक एफआर का नॉलेज होता है ना, तो ऑडिट इजी हो जाता है। बिकॉज आपको ऑडिट करना क्या है, फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स, ऑडिट में तो वही करना है। अगर आपको फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट पता ही नहीं है कैसे होगा, तो फिर आप ऑडिट में थोड़े आगे पीछे हो सकता है, राइट। इसीलिए एफआर का जस्ट ब्रीफ नॉलेज इज ऑल्सो इनफ। ठीक है, देयर यू यूट्यूब, आप पॉकेट नोट्स ढूंढो, पॉकेट नोट्स से आप पढ़ लो, हो जाएगा आपका। डू यू वांट मी टू शेयर पॉकेट नोट्स ओवर हियर? मैं इधर कर देती हूँ आपको।
मैम आई वाज प्लानिंग दैट कि अभी ऑडिट के बाद PM ना बैठ के मैं डायरेक्ट FR ही दूं, तो PM लास्ट के लिए मैं ऐसा, इट विल बी परफेक्ट।
बट अगर आपकी कोचिंग पीएम की स्टार्ट हो रही हो तो पीएम दे दो।
नहीं, PM का कोचिंग अभी नहीं अटेम्प्ट करना चाहता हूँ, बट मैं ऑडिट के बाद डायरेक्ट FR में सेल्फ स्टडी करके वाचिंग रिकॉर्डिंग्स, तो पहले FR कंप्लीट करके देन मैं सोच रहा हूँ PM का पे जंप करूँ।
फिर पीएम जब पढ़ोगे तब कैसे पढ़ोगे?
यहाँ पे 2 बैच है जैसे हमारे इधर, तो एक बैच में मतलब एक महीने का, एक बैच का आगे पीछे चलता है, तो देन मैं FR कंप्लीट करने के बाद मैं PM में चले जाऊंगा
मैम
दूसरे
वो
बैच
ऐसा
में।
होता है कि वंस यू मतलब अटेंड द सेशन, मतलब सारे जितने भी हमने भी एक सब्जेक्ट का अटेंड कर लिया ना, तो वो काउंट
हम्म।
हो जाता है। लेकिन अगर हम स्टार्टिंग से अटेंड नहीं कर रहे तो वो रोल ओवर हो जाता है। और देन हम उसको नेक्स्ट नेक्स्ट सीधा नेक्स्ट ईयर में कंटिन्यू कर सकते हैं जब वो वापस स्टार्ट होगा।
अच्छा ओके, ऐसे भी कर सकते हो। बट आई वुड रिकमेंड, जो सी द पॉइंट इज, अगर आप पीएम दे रहे हो, इतना ही है मेरा कहना, इतना ही है। जो बैच चल रही है पहले तो वो पेपर देना सबसे इजी बनता है। सी द पॉइंट इज, जैसे अभी बैच पीएम की बैच चल रही है, मैं पीएम दे दूं तो पता है क्या, आप पीएम प्रिपेयर कर रहे हो साथ साथ, फॉर द एग्जाम ओनली यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग। आपके पास ट्रेनर खड़ा है, आप सीधा सीधा पूछो। रिकॉर्डिंग में जनरली क्या होता है, आप रिकॉर्डिंग देखोगे, नो डाउट हर ट्रेनर ना ट्राई करते हैं। इवन मी एज अ ट्रेनर आई विल ट्राई माई बेस्ट टू आंसर स्टूडेंट्स। अभी आप अपने ग्रुप में देखो कितने स्टूडेंट्स हैं, 160, कितना है, 160 समवेयर, कितने कितने हैं बताओ? एक सेकेंड देखो, इधर समवेयर अराउंड, जनरली जेन्यून सिनेरियो, 150 स्टूडेंट्स है, ऐसी कितनी सारी बैच होती है। एक क्वार्टर में होता है कभी कभी अलग अलग जगह 1000 स्टूडेंट्स टोटल होते हैं, उसमें से लेट्स से दे आर सिटिंग 50 स्टूडेंट्स ही बैठ रहे हैं, अभी 50 और 30 स्टूडेंट्स, ओके, कहीं कहीं नॉट ऑल स्टूडेंट्स विल कंटेक्ट, ओके, बट द पॉइंट इज 30 स्टूडेंट्स और 50 स्टूडेंट्स और इवन 100 120 स्टूडेंट्स और उससे ज्यादा नंबर हो जाता है, जब वो बार बार डाउट, एज अ ह्यूमन कितना पॉसिबल है along with the regular session to reply all of them, आप सोचो एज अ ह्यूमन हाउ मच इज इट पॉसिबल। सो इसीलिए मैं स्टूडेंट्स को क्लियरली यही बोलती हूँ, आप पहले ट्राई करो, जो लाइव बैच है ना वो तो दो, अगर आप साथ में एफआर को प्रिपेयर करना चाहते हो तो मैंने जो टाइमलाइन बताया 2 मंथ्स वाली, मैंने आपको 3 मंथ्स वाली टाइमलाइन बताई थी ना, दोनों पेपर सेम सेम, एक पेपर का जो मैंने मेजरमेंट बताया सेम वैसे 2 पेपर प्रिपेयर करके दे दो, एक तो रिकॉर्डिंग देखनी है तो रिकॉर्डिंग तो जल्दी हो जाएगी, समझे, बट इट्स टोटली योर कॉल दैट, जस्ट वन सजेशन, ओके,
Yes, ma'am.
ठीक है। एंड अच्छा, एफआर और इजी है ऑडिट से, वैसे तो धैर्य हो जाएगा, आप बहुत अंडर कॉन्फिडेंट रहते हो,
हाँ,
ऐसे नहीं।
और इजी है क्योंकि मैंने अटेम्प्ट किया था वो, मैं देने वाला था एक्चुअल में, बट जो हमारी कोऑर्डिनेटर थे, सी कन्विंस मी नॉट टू गिव इट बिकॉज क्योंकि मेरा स्टडी हब का एक्सेस मेरे को बहुत लेट मिला था। पेपर चालू होने से मतलब 20 डेज या 1 महीना पहले पहले एक्सेस किया था, सो मैं प्रिपेयर नहीं था, देन उन्होंने बोला कि मत दो, दैट्स वाई
हाँ
मैंने वो दिया नहीं।
हाँ
लेकिन
ट्रू, जब
ओवरऑल एफआर इजी है, मोर
बहुत
और
इजी
लेस
है,
एफए का ही एडवांस टॉपिक ही है, मतलब
पूरा
मोरली।
एफए एडवांस्ड है, एफआर एसबीआर भी बहुत इजी है एज कम्पेयर टू अदर सब्जेक्ट्स।
मैम पीएम के लिए बताओ ना।
क्या बताऊं, एग्जैक्टली
मैम
क्या बताऊं,
मैम एग्जैक्टली ये बताओ कि पीएम के साथ में हम कोई एक और सब्जेक्ट प्रिपेयर करके दे सकते हैं या नहीं।
एफआर दे दो।
एफआर दे दे, बट मैम मैंने तो एफआर किया नहीं है, मुझे तो फिर क्योंकि मेरा हुआ नहीं है एफआर।
एक सेकेंड, कौन से अटेम्प्ट में देना है, मार्च अटेम्प्ट में।
हाँ मैम, मार्च में।
जैन में कौन सा फेस्टिवल, किसी की शादी आ रही है,
नहीं मैम, ऐसे कुछ नहीं।
कोई ऐसा कोई इवेंट आ रहा है जिसमें आपका टाइम ज्यादा जाएगा,
नो
सिर्फ
मैम,
एक
ये
चीज है,
मार्च तक तो कुछ नहीं।
एंड मार्च में आपकी कॉलेज की एग्जाम आ रही है,
नो मैम, कॉलेज हो चुके हैं।
पूरे हो गए ना आप, यू
हाँ मैम।
ग्रेजुएटेड ना,
यस मैम।
देन गो फॉर बोथ, टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करो, तब तो दो आप मैनेज करो, थोड़ा स्टार्टिंग से एक डिसिप्लिन बिल्डअप करो, 3 घंटा पढ़ना है, आराम से पढ़ने का, ऐसा लोड नहीं लेने का, सुबह पढ़, आई हाउ आई यूज टू स्टडी वेल माई स्टूडेंट लाइफ, आई यूज टू, मैंने बोला ना, जब मैंने फाइनली 2 पेपर डिसाइड किए टू सिट फॉर पी लेवल पेपर, एसबीएल उस टाइम पे 4 घंटे का पेपर था, आई यूज टू रीच लाइब्रेरी एट 7, 15 मिनट स्नैप लेना होता था मेरे को, इसीलिए 7 बजे चली जाती थी, फिर स्नैप वैप लेके थोड़ा नॉर्मल होके 7:30 टू लेके 12, कितना 4 घंटे, 11:30 हो गया ना, 11:30 टू 12 आराम से मैं एक पेपर लिखती थी बस, दैट्स इट, फिर थोड़ा हैव लाइक माइंड फ्रेश करो, एंड देन दूसरा स्टडी सेशन वही पेपर को चेक करती थी थोड़ा फ्रेश होके, क्योंकि मेरे को ये था कि बाद में देख लूंगी, एक आध घंटा 2 आवर्स दैट्स इट चेकिंग, उसके बाद ब्रेक लेती थी आराम से 2 घंटा, लंच ब्रेक, हैव फन, एकदम बर्डन नहीं होना चाहिए, उसके बाद के सेशन में पढ़ो, सो ब्रेक ब्रेक में पढ़ो, जैसे आप सुबह कोई सब्जेक्ट पढ़ रहे हो, वो पढ़ो कंप्लीट करो 3 आवर्स, उसमें से ब्रेक लेना तो ब्रेक का रिलेटेड 3-3 घंटा करो, स्टार्टिंग से करो, हो जाएगा, इवन रिकॉर्डिंग के साथ हो जाएगा। रिकॉर्डिंग आप 1x में देखते हो क्या, आई डोंट थिंक सो,
हाँ, 1x
नो
में
मैम।
देखते हैं।
है ना, 1x
मैम
में
वन
देखते
एक्स
हो,
में, हाँ मैम देखते हैं, लेकिन अगर रिवीजन करना हो तो फास्ट में ही देखते हैं।
1x में नॉर्मल दिखता है, अगर रिवीजन करना है तो आगे ना हो, फास्ट में
अच्छा,
देखते हैं।
बट मैम आप पीएम
हाँ,
पढ़ाते हो क्या मैम?
नहीं मैं पीएम नहीं पढ़ाती, एफआर पढ़ाती हूँ, टेक्स्ट पढ़ाती हूँ, सब्जेक्ट्स बात करूँ, बीटीएफए, एफआर, टेक्स्ट, ऑडिट, एफएम, एसबीएल, एसबीआर, एटीएक्स, पीएम नहीं पढ़ाती।
एक्चुअली मैम इशू क्या हो जाता है, हम लोग के वीकेंड्स में लेक्चर होते हैं ना सिर्फ, और बाई बाई चांस वो कभी कैंसिल हो गया, देन वो फिर सीधा शिफ्ट होकर नेक्स्ट वीक तक जाता है, क्योंकि पूरा 2 वीक्स फिर हम लोग के पास कुछ नहीं होता है करने के लिए एक्स्ट्रा, ऐसा हो जाता है वो चीज़ मैम फिर। और हम लोग का सिलेबस जब वो कुछ कंप्लीशन उसका होता है अराउंड 15 to 20 डेज पहले एग्जाम के, तो फिर मैम उतने टाइम में ना हो ही नहीं पाता, क्योंकि नई नई चीज़ें जो हमने सीखी होती उसका प्रैक्टिस करने का टाइम नहीं मिल पाता मैम, ऐसा हो जाता है।
आई गेट इट, इसके लिए ना मैंने आपको जो टाइम टेबल, मैंने जो प्लान बताया ना वह वैसे ही करो, आप ना साथ साथ में एग्जाम किट कर दो, 2 बार कर लो, क्योंकि हम लोग भी, मैं खुद भी वीकेंड्स में भी लेती हूँ, तो वीकेंड बैच में जो 2 हम लोग ट्राई करते, कैंसिल नहीं होंगे, ऑलमोस्ट सिनेरियो में कैंसिल नहीं होते, आगे पीछे कर ही देते हैं, मैनेज कर लेते हैं। बट ना रेयर केस में अगर कैंसिल भी हो रहा है ना, तो आपका सिलेबस चलो 15 दिन पहले खत्म हो रहा है। मेरी भी जो बैच एंड हो रही है ऑडिट की, दिस वीक एंड हो रही है, बट तब तक उनकी एग्जाम किट खत्म हो चुकी है, सिर्फ 2 टॉपिक लास्ट के 2 चैप्टर बचे हैं बस। उसके अलावा उनका पूरा सब्सटेंटिव खत्म, ऑडिटर्स खत्म, इंटरनल कंट्रोल खत्म, सिर्फ रिपोर्टिंग बचा है बस। समझ रहे हो? मतलब 15 दिन उसके बाद उनके पास है, उनको अभी 15 दिन उनको मॉक करनी और एक बार एग्जाम किट करनी। तो आई वुड सजेस्ट आप भी ऐसे ही करो आगे से, ठीक है?
ओके मैम।
FR is easy to pass if you have good conceptual clarity. अगर आपके कंसेप्ट माइंड में बैठ गए ना, तो FR जितनी मजा कोई और सब्जेक्ट में आएगी ही नहीं। मतलब एक बार कंसेप्ट क्लियर है, सारे आंसर्स सही आएंगे।
मैम आपने प्रोफेशनल लेवल में कौन सा 2 ऑप्शन चूज किया था सब्जेक्ट, ऑप्शनल
हम्म,
सब्जेक्ट?
मैंने तो ATX एंड EFM चूज करा था, but I might study APM because there's a huge demand. Like I'm getting this. MA पढ़ाते हो मैम, MA ले लो, मैम PM ले लो, मैम APM ले लो। तो या मैम FR लेंदी कर नहीं है दिव्यांशु, FR बहुत इजी है, डोंट टेल मी दिस। धैर्य हो जाएगा, ओके? क्या पता नेक्स्ट क्वार्टर में हम FR के लिए भी मिल ले, हु नोज, है ना? चलो, पर उससे पहले ऑडिट निकालना है, तभी लगेगा कि पढ़ाई करी है बच्चों ने, वरना क्यों? आपका रिजल्ट नहीं आएगा ना, तो इट शोज ट्रेनर्स रिजल्ट। इफ आई टॉक अबाउट दिस, मैं ऑनेस्टली बताऊं, मेरे को AFM क्यों अच्छा लगता था, बिकॉज इट वॉज समथिंग इंटरेस्टिंग फॉर मी। और मैंने FM पढ़ा, FM ऑडिट, एंड FM was very clear for me. FM इतना अच्छा चला था मेरा, 2 FM की एग्जाम में ही ओनली आई हैड कोविड, और FM में भी मैं उड़ी थी ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग, बिकॉज मेरे को कोविड था। मैंने एक सेशन अटेंड नहीं करा, रिकॉर्डिंग देखी, रिकॉर्डिंग में पता चला था, नहीं, रिकॉर्डिंग देखने के बाद इट वाज होल थियोरेटिकल, रिवीजन सेशन में पता चला FM भाई थियोरी नहीं है, प्रैक्टिकल है। तो आई वाज लाइक ठीक है, बुक कर दी, बैठ जाओ एग्जाम देने। आई फेल, बट सेकेंड टाइम जब मैंने दिया, मेरा कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी बहुत अच्छा था, इसलिए आई वेंट फॉर AFM। इट्स टोटली सब्जेक्ट चॉइस, डोंट एवर गो कि हाँ इसका पासिंग रेट कम है, इसका पासिंग रेट ज्यादा है। आई हैव अ फ्रेंड जिसको ऑडिट बहुत फेवरेट था, उसको बहुत मजा आ रही थी, उसने AAA दिया, पर मेरे को किसी ने डरा रखा था। पर डराने से ज्यादा आई वॉज वेरी श्योर कि आई वॉन्ट टू लर्न टेक्स्ट वेरी वेल, सो दैट्स व्हाई आई डिड ATX। तो इट्स टोटली योर कॉल ना, व्हाट सब्जेक्ट्स यू एंजॉय। मैं तो बोलूं एक बार दोनों की बुक्स देख लेने।
बट
हाँ प्रदीप।
जो टैक्सेशन नहीं किया होगा नॉलेज लेवल में,
हम्म।
तो वो कर सकता है क्या एडवांस टैक्स?
हाँ, ATX के सेशन तो वैसे ही होते हैं, फ्रॉम बेसिक टू
नॉलेज,
एडवांस ही सेशंस होते हैं।
तो नॉलेज लेवल में मैंने एक्चुअली एडवांस मतलब एग्जाम्पशन लिया है, तो मैं ईटीएस ले सकता हूँ?
हाँ, ले सकते हो, दैट्स व्हाई
बेस
आई
तो
डिड
क्लियर नहीं रहेगा
ATX।
ना?
हाँ, आराम से, नहीं नहीं कुछ नहीं होता, आराम से हो जाएगा। सी, ATX जो है ना आपका, टेक्स्ट का नॉलेज कवर करके ही आता है। ATX जो सेशन जनरली होते हैं जिस जहाँ पे भी टेक्स्ट का नॉलेज कवर करके ही ATX पे जाता है। क्योंकि इफ आई टॉक अबाउट CA स्टूडेंट्स, वो 9 पेपर एग्जामिशंस लेते हैं, चलो वो तो फिर भी बहुत अच्छे होते हैं। हाँ, टेक्स्ट मैंने भी, आई डिड अ मिस्टेक एक्चुअली, जब मैंने एग्जामिशन दिए तब देयर वाज नो वन टू गाइड मी, और गलती गलती में मैंने ले लिया। मुझे रियलाइजेशन ऑनेस्टली बताओ कब हुआ, जब मैं P लेवल पे आ गई ना, तब आई रियलाइज कि ये एग्जामिशंस मेरे को रुला रहा है। बिकॉज इफ यू टेक एग्जामिशंस एंड देन फिर मैंने स्किल लेवल भी पढ़ा, नॉलेज लेवल भी पढ़ा, पूरा पढ़ा, बिकॉज दैट्स अ प्रॉब्लम, नो वन टेल्स यू। तो आई तो नेवर प्रमोट एग्जामिशंस, राइट? आप जब आगे आओगे तब प्रॉब्लम आती है, तो पढ़ लेने का, FA पढ़ लेने का, इट्स बेटर टू स्टडी वंस रेदर देन स्टडिंग अ सब्जेक्ट ट्वाइस। सो इफ आई टॉक अबाउट, फिर भी सही होते हैं CA स्टूडेंट्स जो 9 पेपर लेके आते हैं, पर जो 9 पेपर कॉलेज से लेके आते हैं, इट लिटरली इट्स फॉर ट्रेनर के लिए, तो हम खुद डरते हैं। हाँ, लाइक वेल प्रेइंग रेदर देन प्रेइंग फॉर मी, आई विल प्रे फॉर देम कि भाई इनको पास करा दो कैसे भी करके, कॉलेज से लेते हैं ना ये, राइट? तो आप पढ़ सकते हो, डोंट वरी, ठीक है? यस, चलो लेट्स कंप्लीट दिस चैप्टर, हो ही गया है ऑलमोस्ट। No, 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 remaining. Okay, let's complete this chapter at least. Okay. considerations after use affecting the use. Let's say if someone doesn't have any computer knowledge or in the audit team, how will they get idea what, let's say, whatever the software they are using, they need to at least have cost benefit analysis, right? Let's say if they are using the software but it's not beneficial. Okay, I'm suggested many times. Okay, for example, आपके साथ भी होता है ना, if you use AI, they would recommend you to buy the purchase version, but is it going to be beneficial? 2000 पे करना worth it है क्या? नहीं. If you can earn 20,000 from it, then it's worth it. But if not, then it's not worth it, right? Time available. Do you have the setup time? Because whatever the audit software you use, it will take a lot of time for setup. Okay. Now, there are like sampling. Now, audit sampling involves audit procedures less than 100%. So, if I talk about sampling, in sampling, you'll take audit on the you'll take samples. Okay, audit will always do on the sampling basis. There are different type of samples. Okay, for designing sample as well, you need to consider different things. Now, audit sampling is usually preferable to test all items because it would prohibitively expensive and time consuming to single every item. Oh, see, if I talk about audit, now humanly it's not possible to check all transactions. Let's say if I start a company, initially I think that I'll have 100 students, hypothetical situation. If I have 1,000 students, then if I have 1,000 students, or let's say if I have at a different locations, let's say 5,000 students, different location ho gaya, to how will an auditor check all things? Not possible. That's why sampling is better. Now, sampling will never give 100% accuracy. Okay, that's a very sure thing. That's why audit, this is also inherent limitation of audit. Now, full substantive testing of accounting record will not verify that all transactions are recorded. It does prove completeness. Let's say if you do full substantive testing, whatever the accounting records you have done, it will not say that all the accounting transactions are correct. See, एक बात बताओ, किसके पेरेंट्स की फर्म है? सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप. आईफोन वाला स्कैम सुना था? बिजनेस के नाम पे आईफोन लिया था एंड देन जीएसटी डिपार्टमेंट ने पकड़ लिया. सुना था ये? हैव यू हर्ड ऑफ इट? हेलो. हाँ मन, हैव यू हर्ड ऑफ इट?
नो मैम.
नहीं. एक्चुअली होता है ना, आप लोग कोई भी, अच्छा अभी जीएसटी में भी एक
हाँ
रूल है.
मैम, सुना तो है. वो
हाँ सुना.
इन्फ्लुएंसर्स लोगों को सुना है.
हाँ सुना है ना. Actually, now from this spot, this rule, this year, there's a rule that one business can only buy one phone. देखो होता क्या है, जीएसटी रिक्लेम उन्हीं को मिलता है, those who are GST registered. Same GST and VAT follows the similar kind of rule, indirect taxation. Okay, if I talk about VAT, the same thing. Now, if I talk about GST, for that individual cannot get, generally individual won't get GST registered. Usually business get the GST registered, and only the business use, they will get the exemptions. Okay, they'll get the GST rebate, like they can claim the GST. Now, if I talk about this, let's say, if someone is purchasing AC for home, or let's say mobile phone or iPad, they can see that whether it's recorded in account or not, whether it's for business transaction or not. That's difficult to verify. Don't you think it's difficult? Let's say an owner bought a mobile phone, or owner's wife bought a mobile phone. How will auditor check? वैसा बोलेंगे मोबाइल फोन दिखाओ, हाँ तो मोबाइल फोन एक दिन के लिए तो anything can be done. So that's why all the substantive will check the records, will not verify the transaction. हाँ दिव्यांशु. Okay. Now, audit sampling, now the logic is very obvious. So, if the population is very small, how can audit sample? Exactly. Okay. Now, if I talk about population is very small, let's say only 50 students are there. In that situation, it's better to check all the transactions rather than taking sampling. All transactions are monetary significance. Monetary significance in the sense they will have a value. If that is a significant value, then you need to consider that. That you need to check. Okay. Population is non-homogeneous. Different population. Let's say, for example, there are different type of product or different type of transactions. Then I need to check all of them. I cannot rely on one, because sampling is only done from one-to-one basis, right? That's why it won't be better. Now, auditor need to consider different methods for deciding a sample. The auditor need to choose between statistical or non-statistical. Statistical sampling will involve random selection of any sample. You can take up any sample, it's fine, of a sample and then use probability theory to evaluate sample results. Any other sampling approach is non-statistical. When they pick up any sample and they use a probability methods, there are multiple probability methods, okay? Stats में पढ़ा होगा आपने, okay? Even PM में भी आता है. That is going to be sampling. Now, if I talk about select sampling, there are two ways: statistical and non-statistical. Statistical, random, using number program, tables, computer program, generate random numbers, that will be considered. Non-statistical sampling requires auditor use judgment, select the sample to be representative of the population. Non-sampling in the sense, they will make sure that this is the population, that sample particularly represent the whole population. For example, okay. Now let's say IMS is a team, if they have to check how are you guys studying or how is my teaching, how effective were these sessions, whatever I conducted. How will they check? What if students are attending till the end? They'll consider them students. Asking their, like today, only 10 students are there. So they'll consider asking that, oh, how's this? Or any one or two, it's fine because it will represent almost all the students who are attending till the end. मतलब मैं तो ये मानती हूँ एंड तक तो वही बैठेगा जिसको सच में बैठना हो. Very obvious, right? So yeah, it could be possible. Now you need to select, evaluate the sample. Now auditor need to carry out audit procedure to check selected documents, results, error, identified samples and projected. Just a second. Okay. Now, if I talk about auditor, okay, it's the auditor's responsibility. Oh, sorry. See, a thing. Let's say if the team has to check how is the how effective the sessions were, they might ask you XYZ question that do you understand the typing sessions. In the sessions I've taught you drafting technique. Okay? They might ask you any one person. If that person doesn't know, the sample is not enough. In the sense, there's a mistake in the sample. They will check for one more sample. That how is it? Is it correct or not? Okay, that's a sample. Now there are different method of sampling. One is random sampling, randomly selecting any sample. Haphazard sampling, haphazard in the sense again they'll create a sequence. On that they'll choose. Monetary unit sampling, let's say every number ending by 2, they'll check for samples. Or every number in the monetary difference, not by ending 2, monetary difference. Let's say after every 15,000, whatever the transaction, they'll check it. Okay. Systematic sample, they'll follow systematic approach. Okay. Like this one first number, the second number, only that is the same thing will be followed. Block sampling, they'll create separate type of block. From that, they'll consider which sample to be chosen. Okay. A different type of product, they can choose that. Now it's auditor's responsibility. To whom, how can they rely on the work? Now, first thing, auditor can use audit experts. Auditors cannot delegate responsibility to the experts. See, the point is, let's say, I have to do audit of any software company. Okay. Now, if I have to do audit, I can hire an expert. I mean, I can hire an expert who will, have better software knowledge. Software, what do I say? Software engineer ko main hire karungi. But any conclusion, any wrong conclusion, I'll be the party who will, shareholders blame any wrong conclusion. If let's say the software party says that XYZ situation, XYZ is correct. Okay. Now, auditor need to cross check as well. Expert pe kabhi blame nahi dal payenge. Understood? That's the point. Now, it could be surveyors, valuers, expert inventory counters, actuaries, etc. would be the expert parties. Okay. Now, auditor is still responsible even after expert is there. Still, it's auditor's responsibility to get the proper, appropriate evidence, sufficient appropriate. Now, experts must be independent. It should not be independent of the company, objective and competent experience. If I hire a fresher, will they be able to carry out work properly? बताओ, ऑडिट करवाना है एक फ्रेशर से, वो कर पाएंगे? After how many years will you get a signing responsibility? How long does it take? क्या रूल है? ओहो अमन, ये बताओ कौन सी दुनिया में जी रहे हो? साइनिंग रिस्पॉन्स अथॉरिटी कब आएगी? 15 साल बाद आएगी, तो कौन ही
मैम
एसीसी करेगा?
वो पार्टनर के नहीं मैम, पार्टनर का मैं बता रहा था।
अच्छा सॉरी, हाँ सॉरी, पार्टनर के लिए you can, but if I talk about ACCA signing authority, you'll get after 3 years. It means you can use your audit, you can do your audit after 3 years. Same with ACCA, sorry, same with Indian CA. 3 साल की इंटर्नशिप के बाद ही आती है, आर्टिकलशिप के बाद ही आती है. So that is to show that expert. Okay. Now, before work is performed by an expert, check the nature, scope, objective, check for the roles, responsibility, check the nature, timing, what extent communication is done, agree whether the need to observe the confidentiality, whether observe that party should be confident or not. Okay. Evaluate the work of expert, check for the relevance, check for the reasonableness finding, check for the reasonable assumptions, whatever the expert is using, check the sources of data, what sources are they taking. Okay. Now, if I talk about whenever an auditor is using the work of internal audit, they can use. See, it's not that the management cannot use. I will never use that management cannot use. They can use, but they need to check by their end as well whether they are using is reliable or not. If that is not reliable, they should avoid it. Okay. How will they do it? They'll check the reports, how the work is done. Okay. Now they need to assess the organization's internal audit function. How will they do? Organization status. Let's say if I talk about I'm a sole proprietorship. If I'm a sole proprietorship, by any chance, I will never do, any fraud. Organization status. Let's say another example, if I say, uh, one more thing. आपको पता है there's सत्यम कंप्यूटर्स एक्चुअली तीन मैंने बहुत सारे फ्रॉड्स देखे एग्जैक्टली आई मिस्ड आउट सत्यम कंप्यूटर्स ज्यादा तो वही था 90% chances it's Satyam Computers. Whenever they got listed into the stock market or after no, listed पहले से थे, whenever the problem analyzed or before any particular fraud coming up, the promoters are the owners of the company. Let's say if I talk about Mukesh Ambani is a promoter of Reliance company, Reliance Group. Their shareholding decreased in the sense they sold their shares into the market. मार्केट में सेल कर दिए तो अब आप सोचो ना अचानक से मार्केट में प्रमोटर्स ने सेल कर दिए शेयर्स सेल कर दिए then don't you think there's a fraud happening? Promoter क्यों करेंगे? They are only getting dividend. Why would they do? There's something fishy happening into the company. As much. So these are some organization stages. If I talk about scope of the function, whatever the area is, how much is the scope? How much is the area? Technical competence, how much technical competence is required? That also need to detect. Due professional care, whether the internal audit department is having appropriate knowledge or not, that they'll check. They'll check for checking, they'll have maintained that they receive sufficient appropriate evidence. They'll check for the conclusions are valid. So whatever conclusions they're getting, are they valid or not? Work has been properly supervised and reviewed or not, they'll check. Okay, whatever the work is, whatever the audit work they are doing, whether that is properly supervised or not, that they'll check. Now, using internal audit to provide direct assistance. Okay. Now, internal audit can provide direct assistance under supervision and review. CA cannot be provided when laws, regulations provide it. Now, in case internal audited departments, if auditor wants, external auditor wants, they can check or they can take the assistance of the internal audit department. Okay. Now, again, these are going to be the parties which can be dependent as well, independent as well. It depends on the company's governance, how strict the company's governance is. Okay. Now, some countries do not allow this. Where it is allowed, they can use it. But whose ultimate responsibility will be there? In the audit report or whenever there is a fraud coming up in the market, can they say that मेरे को तो internal audit department ने बोला था? Can they say this? वो बोल सकते हैं कि मेरे को तो internal audit ने बोला था. अब बताओ. Tell me. No, they cannot take it. It's their ultimate responsibility. Okay, that's a point. Now, must not, okay, before an external auditor is checking the work, relying the work, they need to check for the competence, whether the particular person is competent enough or not. The work must be considered. Must not do work which involves significant judgment, a high risk of material misstatement, let's say, if there is inventory, or wherever there is an area, valuation, or let's say finance, corporate finance. If these are some areas where the valuation is a problematic thing. Now, in this area, it's better that auditor do their own checking. Okay. Now, planned work must be communicated with those charged with governance, whatever the planning they're doing. Those charged with governance as well. Audit committee, any problem, any area they want to check, they want the company to go through, they'll ask that. Okay. This must not do work which involves, in the sense, if I give one more example, if I talk about your audit papers or your examination, if I talk about MCQs, MCQ system will check. Even if in the mock papers, usually you can use Google form, it's fine. But wherever there is this section B portion required, there's a judgment required. I don't use AI. The problem is, अगर मैंने AI use करा, थोड़ा आगे पीछे का, how will I tell the student the exact pointers? Okay, that's a point. So judgment where required, auditor need to do their work on their own. Okay. Now, if I planned work must be communicated, yeah, cannot make excessive use of internal auditor. It cannot rely on that. Management must not intervene in the work. Whatever work they are doing, it's a management responsibility not to interfere. It's completely their duty. Okay? They cannot interfere in the work. The internal auditor must keep auditors' information confidential, whatever the information they are giving. Let's say we are going to plan to this type, that's XYZ. They need to understand, they need to maintain the confidentiality. Auditor will provide direction, supervisor. External auditor will provide that I want this work to be done in this way. External auditor also should remain alert throughout the risk. Internal auditor is not objective and competent. You need to consider, okay? Now, another example, the service organization. Now, if I talk about service organization, let's say MRTS. Sorry, IMS. Okay. Sorry, similar institutions के लिए मैं XYZ institution, okay? Let's take example XYZ institution. Now there is XYZ उनको software की need है, ठीक है? They create a software, they use Deloitte Software Service Department. Now, when they're using Deloitte Software Service Department and XYZ institution, right? If I have to do audit of there, how will I get the evidence of software वाला part? उन्होंने काम कैसे किया? हो सकता है whole work is outsourced to XYZ institution or XYZ party. So then in that, I need to inquire with the clients. That is service organization. My client taking services from another organization, that is service organization. Okay. Now, I also need to check confirmation letters from the auditor of the service organization, whether they are having any problem. If they are having, then again a problem, right? If let's say their internal operations are not good, possibly they are doing fraud with my company as well, okay, my client as well. I can also visit service organization, okay? Now, I can also have type 1, type 2 report from the service organization. If the controls are operated to operate properly, see, type 1 report, when the controls are working good or not, okay? Type 2 report, controls are expected to operate effectively. Type 2 report, perform test of, then you will get type 2 report, okay? How's the control working? Now, perform test of control, you will check for this test of control, you will check for auditors how they are doing, and reporting in case you have any problem. Modify the auditor opinion if the evidence has not been obtained. If you don't get any evidence into that area, auditor can modify the documents. Okay. Now they can also use service organization. If their auditor is not mentioned in the report, they can also use that. Okay, that is not mentioned or the evidence we have not received. Okay, that's about the service organization. So yeah, guys, that's it about the chapter. I'll have to pick up this tomorrow. आपकी प्री मॉक आ गई है ना? It's a pre mock released. Have you received the pre mock? It's done. आज आपकी एक मॉक थी ना? Just a second. Oh, it's on 19th. अच्छा है 19. Pre mock not released yet. फिर तो हमें पीछे से करना पड़ेगा. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Because if I start a new chapter, I won't be able to complete. But then, then कल internal control cover करा दूंगी मैं पूरा. Internal control easy है. Easy है ना? Internal control. Right there. Pre-mock, every quarter, ACC will release their pre-mock, pre-attempt mock. Okay, इस बार आएगी, एक second, I'll come to this. इस बार आएगी pre-December. Okay, and do I have to learn questions and answers? The question answer बताओ. Study text. Just give it a read. Don't learn. देखो, in audit, in all the ACC exams, you cannot mug up anything. Those which are straight questions, you can remember, but you can give it a read. Okay? मैं तो बस एक बार पढ़े. Main focus should be on conceptual clarity and application skills. That's what audit requires. And your drafting skills. बस ये तीन चाहिए. If the students has this, all three, they'll get a rank as well. Okay? Any other general questions? अब पूछो. Read it, हाँ, read it. Learn in the sense, अब देखो यार, एक सीधी चीज समझो. I don't feel it would be easy अगर आप पूरा लर्न करने जाओ. एक बार पढ़ के समझ सकते हो, बट आप रिमेम्बर नहीं कर पाओगे. आप पॉइंटर्स समझ सकते हो. जैसे सी वॉट एवर आई एम डूइंग, आपको कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी आ गई ना. मैंने सब्सटेंटिव, अभी हमने प्रोसीजर्स देखे, व्हाट इज सैम्पलिंग, वो आपको इतना समझ आना चाहिए. अब रिमेम्बर कुछ नहीं कर पाओगे. हाँ, यू कैन गिव इट इट, यू अंडरस्टैंड द स्टडी टेक्स्ट, गो थ्रू द स्टडी टेक्स्ट. वैसे are you in college right now? There, are you in college right now? You're graduate. एक बार अच्छे से समझा, conceptual clarity. Okay? Any more questions? Drafting में क्या difficult है Lisa? Exactly tell me what is difficult. I'll help you out. थोड़ा समझने को डिफिकल्ट लगता है. सेशंस देखो मैं कैसे बताती हूँ. जो सेशन देखा उसी दिन वो टॉपिक को करो. नहीं हो रहा है उस दिन पढ़ो शांति से. नहीं हो रहा है थोड़ी देर सो जाओ, थोड़ी देर, मतलब माइंड को भी ब्रेक दो. पता है व्हेन यू डू अ लॉट ऑफ स्ट्रेस, उस टाइम पे पढ़ा नहीं जाता है. देन रीड इट नेक्स्ट डे, हो जाएगा. सेंटेंस फ्रेमिंग के लिए आई वुड से यू माइट बी लैक ऑफ वर्ड्स. दैट्स अ प्रॉब्लम. रीड एग्जाम के आंसर्स. सी दिस इज माय, I'll say that every time. Whenever, I told you, SBL का पेपर जब मैं कर लेती थी ना, जब मेरा अच्छा होता था, even though it was very good, I still used to read the examiner's standard answer because I need to improve my vocabulary. And that's how, if you read a lot, you'll automatically improve your drafting. ऐसा नहीं है मैं बोलूंगी कि आज के आज करो. Not possible. Read it. You still have so many days. I did audit with job, so you still have so many days. Okay? Read it. And sentence framing के लिए I've shown you technique कौन से किस way में जाना है. बस make sure you you do that. धैर्य गुजराती ગુજરાતી ને એટલા સેશન જોયું હવે તો કંટાળો આવી ગયો એ તો થવાનું જ છે ને પણ ભણવું તો પડે ને આપણને કમ ઓન અરે पैसा छापना है कि नहीं छापना एसीसी बन के पैसा छापना है you need to study need to anyways do it
मैम
हाँ
जो भी
बताओ
हम लोग रिस्पॉन्स या फिर टेस्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल जब भी हम करते हैं कोई भी क्वेश्चन का मतलब जो भी उसका डिफिशिएंसी या जो भी रिस्क है उसके लिए मैम हम लोग का जो भी मतलब नॉर्मली तो हमें रिस्क का और उसका एक्सप्लेनेशन का मार्क्स मिल जा रहा है आधा आधा एक मार्क्स। बट मैम वो जो रिस्पॉन्स का मार्क्स रहता है एग्जामिनर उसको मतलब कैसे इवेलुएट करता है अगर हमने उसको प्रॉपरली बहुत मतलब जो चीज़ को स्पेसिफिकली लिखना था वो नहीं लिखा बट उससे रिलेटेड बहुत सारी चीज़ें दिख रही है तो मैम हमें पूरे 1 मार्क्स मिलते हैं या 0.75 0.5 या कुछ नहीं मिलता।
देखो द पॉइंट इज लेट्स से आपने कोई एक सीरियस एग्जांपल है लेट्स से रिस्क में प्रॉब्लम है कि वैल्यूएशन में रिस्क हो सकती है इसमें देखो अभी हमने देखा ना इंटेंजिबल एसेट्स में रिस्क में प्रॉब्लम थी रिस्क वॉज कि उन्होंने सही से नहीं करा अभी आप बताओ थोड़ा आगे पीछे क्या लिखो आप बताओ तो मैं आई कैन एनालाइज रिसर्च कॉस्ट में गड़बड़ है तो आप उस रिस्पॉन्स में क्या लिखो
मैम रिसर्च कॉस्ट में जो भी गड़बड़ है हम लोग देखेंगे उसका डॉक्यूमेंटेशन देखेंगे हम लोग उसके रिगार्डिंग जिससे हमें को हम लोग चेक कर सकते हैं उसका क्लासिफिकेशन हुआ है कि नहीं प्रॉपरली।
ट्रू करेक्ट ठीक है अगर आप सब कुछ इंक्लूड करते हो फुल 1 मार्क्स अगर आप ऐसे देखते हो फॉर रिसर्च कॉस्ट वी माइट चेक द डॉक्यूमेंट्स वेदर द करेक्टली कैपिटलाइज्ड और नॉट ओके सिर्फ एक दो लाइन में बस इतना लिख दो देन एग्जामिनर विल गिव यू 0.5 अगर आप कंप्लीटली ही इररिलेवेंट रिस्क देखते हो आप बोलोगे रिसर्च कॉस्ट के लिए यू विल से दैट आई विल चेक फॉर द असेट रजिस्टर क्यों मिलेगा मार्क्स भाई क्या मिलेगा असेट रजिस्टर इंटेंजिबल एसेट है असेट रजिस्टर कैसे देखोगे प्रॉब्लम में यू शोन इट कि कैपिटलाइजेशन इज अ प्रॉब्लम एंड असेट रजिस्टर में तो ज्यादातर कंप्लीटनेस मिलेगा असेट इज रिकॉर्डेड और नॉट वो सब मिलेगा आया समझ मतलब कंप्लीटली अलग तो 0 मार्क्स
हाँ मैम मैम जैसे
हम्म
जैसे हम लोग को 8 से 9 रिस्क मिलते हैं मतलब 8 पूछा है जैसे 10 हम लोग को रिस्क मिल गए तो मैम अगर ऐसा कुछ होता है क्या कि हम लोग को अगर नहीं आ रहा कोई पॉइंट तो हम लोग रिस्क को आइडेंटिफाई करके उसको उसका क्या इफेक्ट है वो लिख के छोड़ दे तो कुछ मार्क्स मिलता है या वो लोग जीरो ही कर देते हैं।
मिलता है 1 मार्क मिलता है देखो रिस्क पता चल गया रिस्पॉन्स समझ नहीं आ रहा है चलो आपने रिस्क अच्छे से लिखा फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में क्या प्रॉब्लम है सच अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन किया मिलेगा मार्क्स क्यों नहीं मिलेगा भाई 1 मार्क फॉर दैट ठीक है हाउ कैन आई हेल्प यू धैर्य टेल मी हाउ कैन आई मेक इट इजी आई विल ट्राई माय बेस्ट टॉपिक समझाऊं सेशंस में तो शायद पता नहीं हाउ मच इज इन माय हैंड लाइक सेशन में तो दिस इज मोर एग्जाम फोकस्ड बट या हाउ कैन इट बी इजी यू टेल मी इसमें एक्चुअली बताओ क्या हो सकता है आपको प्रैक्टिस करनी पड़ेगी आपको पढ़ना पड़ेगा सी आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि व्हेन आई डिड इट वाज वेरी इजी फॉर मी इट वाज द सेम सिचुएशन हम तो सेल्फ स्टडी स्टूडेंट थे और बुरा हाल कौन गाइड करे कोई नहीं हमको एग्जाम में जाने के बाद पता चलता था अच्छा ये भी होता है सो इट्स ओके
मैम वो
नहीं इट हम्म
मैम वो सब्सटेंशियल प्रोसीजर्स में ना कंप्लीटनेस और एक्यूरेसी के ना थोड़े गड़बड़ आ रहे हैं मैम।
वो कराऊंगी जब आएगा ना तो क्वेश्चन क्वेश्चन डिसाइड करते करके रखना विल डू दैट क्वेश्चन ठीक है exam kit questions you feel disgusting the reason is you have lack of conceptual clarity देखो आपको एथिक्स समझ आ गया इसलिए आपको आ गया बट बाकी में कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी यू हैव नॉट स्टडीड एफआर एफआर का प्रॉब्लम है एक बार एफआर थोड़ा कुछ भी आपको शॉर्ट नोट्स पढ़ो यू विल गेट इट
मैम बट अभी ये ऑडिट वाला सब्जेक्ट ही पहला सब्जेक्ट है तो मैं एफआर कहाँ से पढ़ूंगी।
आप मैंने पॉकेट नोट्स शेयर करे ना अभी
मैम बट अभी यही नहीं हो रहा है मैं एफआर कहाँ से करूँ।
मैं आपको पूरा सब्जेक्ट नहीं बोल रही आप स्टैंडर्ड समझ लो आपको दिक्कत क्या आ रही है देखो आपको स्टैंडर्ड नहीं पता आईएएस 38 क्या कहना चाहता है आई सॉरी आईएएस इंटेंजिबल का एसेट क्या कहना चाहता है, आपको प्रोविजन स्टैंडर्ड क्या कहना चाहता है वो नहीं पता। आपको मैं क्या बोल रही हूँ, आप पॉकेट नोट्स पढ़ो, आपको एफआर पूरा पढ़ने का नहीं बोल रही हूँ, आप बस स्टैंडर्ड समझो। समझ रहे हो कि स्टैंडर्ड ये कहता है, या तो फिर यूट्यूब पे कहीं भी वीडियो मिल जाएगा, वो देखो।
बट
मैम
अगर मैं
बट
एफआर पढ़ूंगी तो फिर मैं जो ऑडिट का जितना भी मैंने थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ा है वो मैं पूरा भूल जाऊंगी फिर।
नहीं भूलोगे आप, नहीं, आपको ऐसा क्यों लगता है? हम 3 पेपर साथ में जंप मार दिए थे हम, मतलब आई एम नॉट सेइंग, आप करो तो खरी, आप ट्राई तो करो एटलीस्ट, आप एफआर के स्टैंडर्ड तो पढ़ो। चलो, आई विल गिव यू अ टास्क।
और आपने जैसे बोला वैसे कल मैंने थोड़ा एग्जाम की पढ़ने की कोशिश की, तो मेरे को थ्रेड्स वाली चीजें आ रही है, अच्छे से समझ आ रहा है। बट जब भी मैं दूसरे क्वेश्चंस देखने जाती हूँ लाइक जिसमें वो ऑडिट रिस्क एंड ऑल पूछते हैं कि आइडेंटिफाई
वो प्रॉब्लम आएगा, हाँ आएगा,
ऑल
क्यों?
दैट शिट, वो समझ में ही नहीं आता है।
हाँ, आई गेट इट, क्यों नहीं आएगा। देखो, आप आज एक काम करती हूँ, मैं आपको ना टारगेट देके जाती हूँ। कितने कितने 10 पेज का चैप्टर है, नोट बना लो, लिख लो, समझ आ जाएगा। देखो एफआर में क्या है, एक मैं सीधी बात होता है, स्टैंडर्ड है। जैसे इफ आई टॉक अबाउट टेंजिबल स्टैंडर्ड्स, इंटेंजिबल आईएस 16 जनरली फॉलो करता है, चैप्टर 2 फटाफट एक सेकंड।
मैम बट अगर ये पढ़ लूंगी मैं तो वहां पे लाइक क्या ही
नहीं
होगा।
नहीं नहीं नहीं, रुको तो खरी, देखो बताते हैं।
ऑडिट और एफआर बोथ आर डिफरेंट सब्जेक्ट्स ना।
एफआर क्या है, आपका जो स्टैंडर्ड है ना, वो बोलता है कि ऐसे ये चीज रिकॉर्ड होनी चाहिए, ठीक है। अगर ये स्टैंडर्ड ना बनाया जाए तो लोग कुछ भी कैसे भी रिकॉर्ड कर लेंगे, सीधी
बट
बात है।
मैम अगर स्टैंडर्ड्स अगर किसी को नहीं आता है तो ऐसे भी लिख सकते हैं ना, एज पर द ऑडिटिंग स्टैंडर्ड लिख के, इतना भी तो चलेगा ना।
एज पर द अकाउंटिंग, देखो एक सीधी बात
हाँ,
है, स्टैंडर्ड नंबर नहीं
अकाउंटिंग
याद।
स्टैंडर्ड।
हाँ, एज पर द स्टैंडर्ड XYZ सिचुएशन। एक सेकेंड, आपको स्टैंडर्ड्स ही याद नहीं है ना,
नहीं, मैं
एक भी स्टैंडर्ड।
इन केस किसी को अगर अगर कोई सिचुएशन में स्टैंडर्ड्स नहीं आते, नंबर्स में कंफ्यूजन हो गया, फॉर एग्जांपल मेरे को 38 या 37 मेरे को कंफ्यूजन हो गया कौन सा किसका है,
हम्म
तो एज पर द अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड लिख के चालू कर सकते हैं।
एज पर, जैसे रेवेन्यू स्टैंडर्ड, एज पर रेवेन्यू
हाँ
स्टैंडर्ड, एज पर इंटेंजिबल एसेट स्टैंडर्ड,
हाँ, तो
राइट
वैसे भी
वैसे।
लिखने में चलता है।
हाँ हाँ, फुल मार्क्स वाला
एंड
एग्जामिनर। हम्म।
वन मोर थिंग, अगर हम लोग रिस्पॉन्सेस दे रहे हैं तो
हम्म।
वहां पे माइट बी, मे बी, ये वर्ड्स यूज करना जरूरी नहीं है ना, मतलब नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट करेगा, क्योंकि रिस्पॉन्सेस हम लोग के एकदम पक्के होने चाहिए, क्योंकि माइट बी और ये सारे वर्ड्स यूज इग्नोर करना चाहिए।
हाँ हाँ हाँ, ट्रू ट्रू, यू कैन यूज दैट, रिस्क मैप शो कर सकते हो, ठीक है। there you- ये देखो एक बार, देखो अभी एज पर द स्टैंडर्ड असेट क्या होता है, असेट की क्राइटेरिया मैं ऐसे ही बता देती हूँ। असेट इज समथिंग, पहले तो आपका पास्ट इवेंट होना चाहिए। सेकेंड थिंग, असेट इज समथिंग जिसके ऊपर आपका कंट्रोल होना चाहिए, ठीक है। थर्ड थिंग, असेट वही चीज होगी जिसके थ्रू आपको रेवेन्यू या एनी फाइनेंशियल बेनिफिट मिलता है। 3 क्राइटेरिया फॉर असेट, ठीक है। अगर ये स्टैंडर्ड नहीं है तो आपको नहीं लगता कोई किसी ने एक्सपेंस किया उसको भी असेट शो करेंगे, बिकॉज शेयर होल्डर्स तो असेट्स को देख के खुश होंगे कि असेट्स बहुत सारे हैं इसके पास।
मैम बट वो लिखना जरूरी है क्या कि लाइक दिस
आपको
आईएएस
अंडरस्टैंडिंग जरूरी है। अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्यों जरूरी है? क्योंकि आईए स्टैंडर्ड बोलता है कि ये सारे क्राइटेरिया है मेरा असेट रिकॉग्नाइज करने के, और क्राइटेरिया मैच नहीं कर रहा है तो कैसे असेट हो गया? अगर मैं बात करूं डेवलपमेंट स्टैंडर्ड की, चलो इफ आई टॉक अबाउट डेवलपमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर, रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर होता है कंपनी में, ये तो पता होगा, ठीक है। अभी डेवलपमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर होता है दैट इज ऑल्सो विजिबल इनटू इंटेंजिबल एसेट। इंटेंजिबल एसेट की उसके कुछ क्राइटेरिया है, अगर ये मैच होगा तब भी ही, ठीक है। तो आपको स्टैंडर्ड का नॉलेज इतना जरूरी है कि कौन से क्राइटेरिया है, तो ही आप एज एन ऑडिटर वहां पता कर पाओगे कि अगर डेवलपमेंट स्टैंडर्ड है तो वहां वैल्यूएशन की गड़बड़ है। समझ आया? जैसे डेवलपमेंट की बात करो, पायरेट्स लर्न करते हैं जनरली से, प्रोबेबल फ्लो ऑफ बेनिफिट, जो भी आपने दिया आपके पास इनफ फंड्स है कि नहीं, आप करने वाले हो उसको यूज, राइट। द सेकेंड थिंग, इंटेंशन टू कंप्लीट, अगर आपने कुछ रिसर्च स्टार्ट की, आप इंटेंशन ही नहीं आपका कंप्लीट करना, प्रॉब्लम। रिलायबल मेजर होना चाहिए, कौन से बेसिस पे मेजर करोगे? अगर नहीं है तो क्या शो करोगे? लेट्स से अगर मैं कोई रिसर्च कॉस्ट कर रही हूँ, मेरे पास कोई मेजर नहीं है, तो मैं 1 करोड़ ऐसे थोड़ी डाल सकती हूँ। आई शुड हैव एटलीस्ट अ मेजर, दैट्स अ पॉइंट। रिसोर्सेज होने चाहिए मेरे पास कंप्लीट करने के। अगर रिसोर्सेज ही नहीं है तो वो चीज तो कंप्लीट होने नहीं वाली। हाउ कैन आई रिकॉग्नाइज एज एन डेवलपमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर? ठीक है, टेक्निकली फीजिबल। लेट्स से अगर जो मैं कर रही हूँ वो पॉसिबल तो है कि नहीं। मैं इधर बैठी हूँ, मैं कोई एसेट क्रिएट कर रही हूँ जो इंडिया में अलाउड ही नहीं है, और वो सिर्फ यूएस में अलाउड है, और मेरे को इंडिया में चाहिए। फीजिबल ही नहीं है, कैसे करूँ? राइट। एक्सपेक्टेड टू प्रॉफिटेबल, चलो मैंने कॉस्ट लगाई, पर पॉसिबल ही नहीं है कि वो प्रॉफिटेबल होगी, तो वो लॉस हो गया, वो तो सॉरी एक्सपेंस हो गया। तो ये है क्राइटेरिया फॉर डेवलपमेंट। तो आपको एफआर स्टैंडर्ड क्या सिखाता है कि कौन से क्राइटेरिया है, और ऑडिट क्या सिखाता है क्राइटेरिया में कहाँ गड़बड़ निकालनी है, कहाँ
तो
उसने कौन सा
अभी से
क्राइटेरिया
कितने
फॉलो नहीं किया।
ISA है इसमें जो लर्न करना है?
नंबर तो मेरे को ऑनेस्टली नहीं पता, तो टोटल नंबर वैसे नहीं पता, बट या इफ आई टॉक अबाउट दिस, आप इतने चैप्टर में आई
सिर्फ
कैन शो।
इम्पोर्टेंट वाले बता दो जो
ऑडिट में तो मैम 8 से 10 ही
जरूरी
है जितने यूज होते हुए दिखे
हाँ
इन
हाँ
जनरल।
वही, हाँ हाँ इतने ही, तो आई टेल यू। सी, एक तो नॉन करंट कर लो, इंटेंजिबल कर लो, इम्पेयरमेंट भी काम आता है, बिकॉज इम्पेयरमेंट टेस्टिंग के 2 सिनेरियो, इंटरनल एक्सटर्नल इंडिकेटर्स, राइट।
रेवेन्यू।
हाँ रेवेन्यू। लीज इतना काम नहीं आता। हाँ लीज एक बार पढ़ लो, बिकॉज द पॉइंट इज, देखो कभी भी जब भी देयर इज अ लायबिलिटी दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट, वो हमेशा इन लायबिलिटी दे कंसिडर वन थिंग, वेदर दैट इज करंट और नॉन करंट, सही करा है कि नहीं, इंटरेस्ट से कैलकुलेट करा है कि नहीं, राइट, वो चीज। एंड फॉरेन करेंसी तो नहीं आता।
But what is the use of this in audit?
आपको स्टैंडर्ड्स की नॉलेज नहीं है। देखो, अंडरस्टैंड द वर्क ऑफ ऑडिटर। ऑडिटर का काम क्या है? फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स देखना। हाँ हो जाएगा लीजा, उससे भी हो जाएगा, ठीक है। ऑडिटर का काम होता है फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स देखना, चेक करना। अभी आपको पता ही नहीं है फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स पे कैसे बन रहा है, कौन सा स्टैंडर्ड है, तो वो कैसे होगा? मैंने पहली सेशन में क्या बोला था? एज पर द एप्रोप्रिएट स्टैंडर्ड ऑडिटर कंपेयर करता है, सही से रिकॉर्ड किया है कि नहीं, सही से सब करा है कि नहीं। इसीलिए ये स्टैंडर्ड की जरूरत है आपको। समझ आया?
Okay, मैम।
तो एक बार पढ़ लो, या तो फिर आपको एफआर की ऑडिट की नोट्स में पीछे भी दिया है दैट दीज आर द स्टैंडर्ड यू नीड टू गो थ्रू, आप एक बार वो देख लो, दैट इज आल्सो फाइन।
Okay.
दैट्स इट।
Yes. Thank you.
यू आर वेलकम।
Bye bye.
चलो,
Take care. Good night.
या बाय, गुड नाइट, टेक केयर। अरे डरो मत, हो जाएगा, डरते नहीं है। पहले पहले सी, एसीसी इज समथिंग अपग्रेडेड लेवल, राइट। स्टार्टिंग इज डिफिकल्ट बट इट्स मैनेजेबल। हमने कर लिया, आप भी कर लोगे। मैं कोई रॉकेट साइंस स्टूडेंट नहीं थी भाई, बस मैं पढ़ती थी चुपचाप, वो भी रो रो के। ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग, सम डेज ओके, ज्यादा डरने का नहीं। ओके, ऑलराइट, बाय बाय, हैव अ गुड डे, आई एम एंडिंग द सेशन।